that idea of sadness because of the lack of color came back in with the color of the personalities that I met.
You gotta eat fast. If you're eating with Misho, you gotta eat
exactly.
fast.
Yeah, or he won't leave anything for you. But the crowd that we had in Syria, it's something that we'll never have again.
Hello everybody, I'm Rami and welcome to Offcourt Podcast. Today we have a special guest, a good friend and an exceptional player. Marcelo, welcome and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Rami. Good to see you again, man. Appreciate it.
Let me start by saying this, Marcelo. Knowing you and knowing how much you train and you take care of your body, it's not crazy to say that if you played right now in Syria, you would dominate the league. I mean, you're a true professional, and I think you still have a chance to play, man. So what do you think about it?
I think about it. People come to me every year and ask me, would you come at least for the playoffs, this and that. Yeah. I do stay in shape. You know, I still, even after I left Syria in 2012, that's when I pretty much stopped playing professional. But even in Dubai, since I've been here, I've played 3 seasons as professional here. But today I'm 47 years old. My body tells me it's time to slow down. I'm still playing the local tournaments. I still, it's just custom to me to, you know, eat well and do things well to stay in shape. I think that even if my body still holds, which it does, luckily, thank God, I think the determination is a bit different, you know. I think the hunger that I had and most of the younger guys have these days to play, that you have in order to play professional basketball, it changes a little bit, you know. A lot more responsibilities, right. Family. I have 3 kids, a company to run here, and just the responsibilities change. Your attention changes a little bit. So it's not just about the body, the mind needs to be there. And I think that's the what I would lack the most. So I'm happy the way I left things, and I'm happy the way things are now.
Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure teams would fight for you, man, to have you. And they're paying good money, by the way, right now.
Yeah? Well, good to know.
Yeah.
Good to know.
I mean, not great, but it's good to live in Syria, you know?
Well, very good. See, that's the thing, right? Like, it's very difficult for a professional basketball player, as a lifelong professional basketball player, to think about when you stop playing, you know? So, and having made that break, have made that move into the life outside basketball, would be very hard to stop that, come back to basketball, to put everything else in hold, and then to think that after that 1 year or 2 years, whatever it is, have to restart something else. It would be very complex. So I rather stay here and be change positions and be the one cheering the teams on. So I'm happy where I am right now.
But it's funny, Marcelo, like basketball players always find a way to get back to the game. Like even if you stop playing and get a job or something, you find a way to get back to the basketball court, whether playing, coaching, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, the passion never goes away.
I never left. I'm a certified coach. You know, I did the FIBA certification, so I'm a level 1 coach. It's something that I looked into doing, but I think I honestly lack the patience to teach the very young boys, which were where I was supposed to start. So the way I keep in touch with basketball is I keep playing. So basically, even after I stopped playing, I went 4 or 5 years with no basketball at all. And when I moved to Dubai, I felt I had that little question in my mind, like, can I still play? Just like you said, you know, every basketball player, every sports enthusiast, every professional, it's very hard to get out of it. So I never had, because of the way I had to leave Syria, you know, because if it wasn't the situation when it happened then, honestly, I might still be there playing basketball, doing whatever it was, the way me and my family love the place. So because I had to stop, not that I chose to stop, I always had that in my mind. So coming to Dubai,
I think like it's an unfinished business. Like you still have something
exactly.
to give.
It was an unfinished business. So I came here. I saw the situation here. I saw the teams here. I always thought I can still do it. And I had the chance to come back playing in a team in Abu Dhabi, which I did. I came back. I was working all day during the day. And then I traveled from Dubai to Abu Dhabi 4 or 5 times, sometimes 6 times in a week to practice and play. I played 2 seasons there. I started playing a third season and then I got injured. I had to stop. So I did well as a second profession for me. Well enough. I did well enough. I could still play and I was very happy. I came back. I got that question out of my mind. Can I still do it? I was very happy, satisfied with the way I did. So I was able to play. And then I was able to make the choice to stop. And I was very happy for that. And nowadays I play regular tournaments. I play with actually right now I'm playing 2 different leagues. Like it's very hard to get out. Like if I sit home and do nothing related to basketball, I would probably go crazy. Just like it has been part of my life, my whole life. So I need to find a way to stop. I'm not able to coach. I think it's not in my mind. It's not in my will in that sense. But the way I stay involved is by playing. I have my friends. I miss that part of basketball. The friendships, the joking around, the being there, to have to worry about nothing else in the world. And I keep in touch with that through the local leagues here in Dubai.
Well, obviously you had a long career in basketball, and I want to start with you from the beginning. How did you start playing basketball? Like at what age? And how did you end up in Syria with Al-Jalaa? Because
Okay.
it was a huge step for you, whether it was you, Eder, or later on Johnny. It was a huge step for Al-Jalaa and for Syria,
Right.
Syrian basketball in general.
Well, let's start with me. So I come from my father was who had a Syrian nationality. He came in from basketball, so I was always involved. I was always in the middle of basketball somehow.
He used to play?
My dad was a basketball player. Yeah. My dad was a basketball player. He played for the national team of Brazil for many years. He played with Oscar Schmidt, who's a very famous basketball player in the world. And I was always involved with basketball. So for me, it was a natural move. I started really practicing when I was 6 years old, which is very young. I tried different sports. It was never something imposed to me as basketball, but it was something that was there, something I was watched, something I identified a lot more. I played volleyball. I did track. I did a lot of things because I had the chance to do it in my city. But basketball is something that attracted me the most. Again, started at 6 years old and then moved on. At 15, I moved out of my house into a club in another city in Brazil. But it was always my passion. My basketball was something that was always in my life. Something that I put in front of everything else, including, going to school, which I end up doing it, but not as interested as basketball. I finished everything I had to do with school just to play basketball. Basketball is the number one.
So basically, you're like a professional from 15 years old. You left the house.
Exactly. At 15 years old, I moved out of my let's say my parents' house, and I moved into a club to play and receiving, let's say to play. So I was expected to play and perform for a team. And then at 18 years old, I moved on to US. I went to play college basketball, Division I. When I graduated I didn't go for college first. I went to high school first through a friend, and then moved on to university. I did university there 5 years. Came back to Brazil, played for a couple of years. And even before I went to Syria, I got to know, I don't know if you remember Andre and Edu. They were there before me, a little bit.
Andre, yeah.
Exactly. So I knew them there from competing against each other. I played by coincidence with Edu's brother in the club that I was in. So I knew him from the club that they always played against. We had a very good we were not very good friends back in Brazil in a way of basketball. He was a very competitive guy playing for a different team. But then,
sorry, correct me if I'm wrong. Edu didn't play with Al-Jalaa. He played outside of Syria.
Edu was not able to play. Yeah,
right?
he
Yeah, yeah,
was
yeah.
not able. I don't remember the exact circumstances, but he was
Because I
not able to
remember one
finalize.
time he went with us with the national team,
Exactly.
and he was from the 12 players, but he couldn't play.
There was something that he could not get his passport. It was
Yeah,
something there with the family, his mother. I don't remember the circumstances, honestly,
but he didn't
but he
play
was not able to, which
locally.
was very
Mm.
frustrating for him. And for us, too, it would be nice. He was a very good player.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Um, and the same thing went for Andre. He had not only issues with his paper, but something went with the club. Also, everybody has their own story. Everybody has their own sides. But anyways, he wasn't
Yeah.
able to finalize both of them. But when the way I ended up in Syria after all of this is I was playing back in Brazil after finishing college and playing professional in Brazil. An agent got in contact with me. He said, "Look, there's a team in Syria because of your nationality, because of your name. We want
Hmm.
to bring you in for test." And that's when I thought of going back. Sorry, I thought of going, but it was the first time. So for me, it was very hesitant to come back
Hmm.
come into something that it was in my family history, but not in mine yet. But then the
And you
agent said,
and you
"Look,
don't
just
know
to help
anything
you."
about the country or anything.
I didn't know. I did not know. No,
Mm.
no, not enough. Of course, I knew very little, but not enough. And then the agent mentioned that there were two Brazilians there, and then by coincidence, he said, let's finish it. Let that set up a call. The agent couldn't even tell me the name of the players, and then by the time we got in the phone to get in touch, because they knew me, they knew my name, and they wanted to call me in, so it was kind of a surprise, and just to
Hmm.
push me into making that decision to go in. I spoke with them. It was a very nice, and then we started. This was 2006. What was the first time
Hmm.
I got in contact and went there for this tryout period. So I went directly into, if I'm not mistaken, Iran, and we went into a tournament there. And it was a very nice experience. For
So
me, it
you
was
met
a
the team
big
there in
changing,
Iran.
life changing experience.
You
Sorry.
you met the team there in Iran. You didn't
Yes,
go
exactly.
to
I did
Syria
not go
first.
to
Uh-huh.
Dubai. Sorry, Dubai. I did not go to Syria first. I went directly to Iran. I
Uh-huh.
met the team there without any practice, without knowing any of the players. Just previously, Andrea was there and got to play with the team there for the first time.
You finished the tournament and then you went to Syria, right?
Syria, yes, and that's. But
So.
then the 2006 and 2007, I only spent 6 months in Syria. So I went there. I
Oh.
trained with Jalaa. And then I would come back. Like it was just a periodization. So it wasn't something for sure that I would stay for the long run. I
Mm.
came in, they said, okay, now we finished the season, you can go home. We don't know if we're going to come back or not. And then I went and played in Uruguay. And then the next year,
Oh, okay.
2007, they said, come back again. And then we come back again. Let's try it again. I stayed there for another 6 months. In the end, they said, let's wait. The clubs sometimes
Yeah,
they
yeah,
want to
yeah.
keep trying
And
things.
about the
Maybe they
rules
were
and all
trying
that.
because things also didn't work out, like you mentioned for Andre
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
and
Edo.
Eduardo. So maybe that was happening too. So they said, let's not, because it has a cost for them, having, let's say, a foreign, because I didn't have my family there. So they had to maintain everything. So
Hmm.
it was understandable. So I came back. I had my life, in Brazil. I had my teams. And then 2008, that's when they said, you know what, everything is okay. We want to offer you, because there was also a point that you have to decide, like, let's stop playing games. Like, I either go or don't go. So in
Hmm.
2008, there was a point where they made the offer for a longer contract, and then things went along with the national team, and also uh, the, the idea was to, yes, defend Jalaa. That's the team that brought me in. That's the team that, let's say, they paid all the bills. Let's just say, no, and then and be able to defend the country. So
Hmm.
it was a very good proposal. It was a very good honor for me. So I was happy to come in and sign a long contract with Jalaa. So
What was your first impression when you arrived to Syria? Because, like you said, it's a totally different
yeah,
country. I mean,
um,
you lived in Brazil, in the States, but Syria is a lot different.
it's a lot different. You're right. It was my first experience in the Middle East. So My first impression is, because I'm used to, in Brazil and US, I lived in places that were very tropical. So I'm coming in from Brazil, where it's a tropical place. And in US, I lived in California, where, beach is the same everywhere. But outside of that, there's green everywhere. There's colors. The people has a different culture on things, So for me to come in, and as soon as you arrive, there's no green anywhere. Like, and it feels
We used
to
to
somebody
have,
that's used to
that,
green.
but it's unfortunately all gone. We
Yeah.
used to have that, man.
Yeah. Well, that's, unfortunate. Let's put that aside for now.
Yeah.
But it feels like a shock in a way of warmth, in a way of like, it seemed like a sad place, like if you're used to color, when you don't see color, your mind perceives as a sad place. Like it's a natural thing. Okay. But as soon as you touch the ground and you meet the people, things change. Like for me, the first impression was a shock. But then when you meet the people, man, for me, I was very happy. Like I had an amazing reception. That idea of sadness because of the lack of color came back in with the color of the personalities that I met. Like people that all the way from top down, like all the management that came in. Sorry, not the management, the managers that came in to help us. I'm sorry?
Color of personality. The line you just said, I'm going to put it as a headline for the podcast.
Yeah, but it's like true, man. The lack of colors in the scenery comes back in the color of the people, of the personalities that you see. So the scenery changes. So basically, so the people there, it was an amazing reception from the beginning. The way I was treated, the way I was brought in, handheld into everything, how I was accepted as somebody that was already there. The people in Jalaa, I mean, it's the only club I know that I played in Syria, and I can tell like these people accepted me and my family as their family right away. Not just because they had to, because there were people that were paid to take care of us as a foreigner, take care of me as not a foreigner, but I was a foreigner coming in, basically a new player, let's just say, not foreigner, as a new player. But the team, like that's my teammates, all of them, like they're nice guys, but the way I was accepted into the team, coming into the team, it was amazing. So I was very happy from the beginning. It was something that unexpected, but an amazing surprise. So I was very happy.
Especially in Aleppo, because obviously you lived in Aleppo. Aleppo is a very special city, man.
It is. Which I learned later, after traveling to many places in Syria. Aleppo is a special place. Aleppo is because of our community too, I believe.
And how good is the food, man? Food is
great.
The
food is a special detail inside of a special city. I know. Learn later that Aleppo is known worldwide as a capital for food appreciation. We were very fortunate to have amazing restaurants. I was also very fortunate to have very good eaters, very big eaters in my team. Even the small guys were eating a lot. Mishu Madanli, I don't know. I'm sure you've been able to eat next to this guy.
Eats a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a machine, man.
It is a machine, and then
you gotta eat fast. If you're eating with Misho, you gotta eat
exactly. Fast. Yeah, or he won't leave anything for you. We had amazing tables, but yeah, the food in Aleppo, it's something that actually I look forward here. Like in Dubai, luckily, the culture of the Syrian food, it's everywhere, and we're very lucky to have that same food here. A lot of Syrian people are here bringing that tradition of the good cuisine into a big part of the world. And Dubai, it's a hub for that. So yeah, food in Aleppo was amazing. We got to see some very cool restaurants, some restaurants in caves, things that don't exist in other places in the world, especially coming from Brazil, where it's a different culture. And here, there's a culture of the food mixed with the history, like there's it's special. It was very special for me. We were very happy to be in a place like Aleppo for the food also.
Did you notice any similarities between Syria and Brazil, or in Aleppo even? Like, obviously, they're totally different countries, but
Right.
talking about sport and basketball specifically, like the
Well,
love of the game, the basketball culture, did you see anything similar?
I do. I like here in Dubai, I see this with the Filipino culture. Brazil has a lot to do with sports. Okay, so of course we're known for for football, soccer.
Yeah.
And that passion translates into other sports. I was into the basketball culture, of course, and the crowd and the competition is fierce. People inside the court, it's do or die. Like they put everything in there. But you also have your supporters. The crowd outside love the game. In Syria, it was the same thing. I see it still to this day, even through everything that's happened. The crowd is there. Like the supporters are there. People, they do or die even outside for the team. And it's just one of the similarities I see. I was walking on the street from the beginning. Within, let's just say, even before the first game, people already knew who I was. Of course, I'm taller than everybody else. People assume that you do something, like people are not used to seeing that. It's not normal, especially where I was in the community. But people knew who I was because of their passion for the basketball and the community of Jalaa in Aleppo. So I think the biggest similarity was in that passion for the sport. And I know they had the soccer teams, they had other sports there, and it was similar. So it's something that people bring in. It's a stress relief and it's a passion outside their own home because it's a different thing. It's a stress relieving passion. It's something that you do, and sometimes it takes great limits. We had problems outside too of aggression, and people take outside the limits, but it's a similarity that we see in Brazil the same way. So that's the biggest similarity I remember.
Yeah, like you said, they're still doing it even till this
Yeah, I
day.
can
So
imagine, man.
that
In
never goes
Syria,
away.
especially with the hard times that we've gone through, uh, it's a way to release that, and
True.
unfortunately sometimes get out of control. But it's the passion for the sports. It's a very similar thing in Brazil that we have.
Well, you had a great team with Al-Jalaa
Yeah, we were
during those
fortunate.
years from 2008 till 2010 or 11, right? The
Yeah,
year
I
we,
left in January
the year we,
2012.
the, oh, you left at 12, yeah.
Well, let's say to the end of 11. So I left in January 2012. So as just as the year turned, I left.
But you were there in 2010 when we beat you guys, right?
Everybody gets lucky once in their lifetime.
We got lucky twice.
Ah,
We didn't in a row,
man.
man. That's not
Well,
luck if you can do it twice.
there you go. We had more times though. It's okay.
No, but you guys were great
We had a
during
good team. Yes, we were very fortunate.
during those years, and you were dominant. Like for 2-3 years, you
Yeah.
were winning everything inside and outside. But I know you couldn't win outside of Syria, like the Asian Championship or Dubai tournament. It was frustrating for you guys because
It was very
you were
frustrating.
almost complete.
Yeah.
But small details prevented you guys from winning that. But you had great team. All those
Yeah.
names, man. I want to ask you about. Okay, Misho was known was the best player on that team. He scored most of the point and everything, but I want to ask you about the most important player on that team, because to me it was you, because you offered so much of for that team, whether it was rebounding, defense, communication, and most importantly leadership.
Appreciate
So,
that.
do you agree with me, or you have
I
another name in mind?
I don't think of it that way. Like to me, it's hard. I mean, for me, it's hard to talk about myself in a sense, but it's something that I see it in a way of, like you said, communication. I know I was the only one doing the things that I was doing, the way that I was doing and the intensity. I know I brought in the intensity that the team maybe lacked at times. I think I still have a work ethic that I carry with me, that I have to run more than anybody else as much as I can. I have to talk more than anybody else, and I will do my best to outwork everybody else. So whatever that brings, everybody have their ups and downs. Everybody have, a good game and a bad game. But you also you need to know your place. Like every team needs somebody to do something. You can't do everything. You said Mishu. Mishu is a superstar. Mishu is a superstar, but he can't do everything that he has to do for the team, because he also had a place on the team, without having somebody else to do the other things. He can't play 105, so you have to offer an option for him to release the ball. You have to help him with picks. Not just him. I'm using him as an example because you mentioned it. But we had many other players that were in at times. Mishu wasn't able to do 50 points every game. Somebody else had to do it too. I see myself as somebody that can help in different places in a good level. I can't say that I'm a scorer. I can't say that I'm just a defender. I can't say that I'm just, I was able to do different things because I work hard. Like, that's my thing. I work hard at things that I did, and I tried to do it as fair and as hard as I could. And it's something that you see every day. It's not just in a game, even in practices. You're talking about being an important part of the whole process. So basically, I knew I was there every day for the gym. I love being a gym because I know the gym will provide me a good state to do well in court. So I was there in the gym every day, workout, because I'm a skinny, tall guy, like I'm playing as a 4 and 5 against guys that are much bigger than me. So I knew I needed to be bigger. So I needed to work that hard. And then after that, I was working on shooting. I wasn't a great shooter. I knew what I could do, and I work on that. I wasn't trying to shoot 3-pointers like the big guys.
Shot. Yeah, you developed especially the mid-range shot.
Mid-range. Yes, exactly. Yeah. That's my game. So I worked on that. I worked mid-range and a low post. I wasn't shooting 3 points because I have a limited time to get better at what I do. So I focused on that to get better. I know what I do
also
good.
You had shooters in the team.
Exactly.
Rami, even Mishu, Hekmat, Sharif.
Exactly. So threes. I knew where I could help the team the most, and that's what I worked out. I was there every day. I lived next to the gym, so there was no problem. The place I ate was next to the gym. Everything was there. Like, I could go to the gym, come back, rest, go back to the gym and shoot, and come back, rest. And then later there was a practice. Like, my thing is a work ethic, I think. And that's something that I think that I brought in a lot to the team. So you mentioned the similarities in the culture. I'll tell you about the differences in the culture. So we talk about the world time for things, and there's a Syrian time for things, right? So you talk about practice at 7. Usually for the Syrian players, it's like 7:15ish. You walk in with the shoes in your hand. We had European coaches that went crazy that people weren't there on time. And it's something that I was able to bring in to add, because I was considered not in the end, like right away as a Syrian, because I had that in the team, and I was able to bring that in. Like, come on, like, if we want to be serious, let's be here on time.
I was going to ask you about that. Like when players see that from Marcelo is doing this, eventually they're going to want to do it.
Exactly. So you have to lead by example. Exactly. Lead by example. So you mentioned, again, Mishu. Mishu, of course, he was the captain of the team. He's the big name. He's the one that scored the points. And just like in football, the player that scores the goals is the big name, right? So I didn't mind not being the named captain of the team. I know I had my place to push the team to do things. And I had that place in Jalaa. I always felt that, because I think leadership is something that is not given to somebody. It's something that needs to be taken, something that needs to be proven. And in my mind, I was the one to push the team. I was the one working hard, and I wanted everybody else to do the same. And not by telling, I had to do it first. So it's something that I felt that I had to bring in for the team, and I think I did it. At times, I don't know. I can say most of the time that's what I try to do. I try to push people to do their best so we could be the best as a team.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, man, to me, you were the most important player on that team because
I
playing
mean, I'm
against you
happy.
guys
Thank you.
a few times, I mean, we could notice the difference and we can see your effect on the team.
Thank you.
But
Appreciate
not
that.
only in Jalaa, you played in the national team also, right?
Yes. Yeah.
What year you played?
If I'm not mistaken, I played the national team right away in the end of 2008 until I think for 3 years, 8, 9, no, 9, 10, 11. 9, 10, and 11, if I'm not mistaken. The first time I played was 2009 when everything was formed because I had an issue with the federation and I was not able to compete in 2008 when I arrived right away, but I was able to compete in 2009. So 9, 10, 11, I was able to play.
Who was the coach?
Coach
on
Imad.
that team. Coach Imad, yeah.
Coach Imad, yeah.
Coach Imad really liked you, man. he always spoke highly of you. Like he used to tell me like people see the skills and see that you're big and strong, but the most important thing about Marcelo is his mentality. He's very strong mentally and he can handle everything on a basketball court. So
Coach Imad became a very good
he
friend
would
of
have
mine.
loved you to have you. He would love to have you on our team, man.
He tried a few times.
He tried, yeah.
He tried, yeah. It was, but I did have that commitment. For me, I think, of course, money is important for me and for everybody else, but it wasn't everything. I think the way the club treated us as a person and as a family, because I was coming in with my family, it's something that I was not, letting go for anything. So, not just him, but of course things came from other sides too. But
yeah, I was gonna ask you about
so.
that. Like, of course, you got offers from other teams. Were you
Right.
any close to join another team, or
No,
was
I
it
was
only
not.
Jalaa?
I was not only Jalaa. In the end, 2009, 10 and 11, I was having offers to leave the country. But I felt so at home being in Syria and being in Aleppo and being in Jalaa that I saw a future there, like even if, again, money, right? Money was better somewhere else. I felt like I could be in Jalaa forever. Like not just not just Jalaa as a professional basketball player, but being in Aleppo in that community forever, let's say. Like I was looking forward to raising my kids in that place. So yeah, things happened. I was happy with my decisions, and yeah, I was very happy, man. It was Coach Ahmad. It's somebody that I still speak to this day here in Dubai. Not just him, Coach. I have coaches from Syria all the time, and friends, people that come in. Coach Amar, who you had here, he's coaching my kid, by the way. Here I have a 10-year-old kid playing under him. Yeah, so Coach Amar is coaching my kid. So, man, it's a fortunate event that happened in my life. That agent back in the day that called me, do you want to come try out? It's just a decision that I took, that it was a life-turning event for better for me and my family. So Jalaa, I would never leave for anything outside of it.
I want to ask you about the national team, because we always have this debate about the national team because we're not good, right now. We used to be better, not great, but we used to be better than this. And people talk about the coaches, about the players, about the league, that it's not strong enough or competitive enough. I don't know if you're following the national team or watching any games, but what do you think the problem is?
I think it's preparation, Rami.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's preparation because nowadays, if you lack the resources to invest into something, you do it in a short term, right? So, for example, you have the clubs that probably have much less money to invest on the teams now. So the players, let's say, have to do other things in order to have a life, a meaningful life.
Yes,
So
correct.
they can dedicate 100% of time to their basketball. So that's in the club. Now, the national team, for example, has a tournament in the middle of the year in June or July. They're going to call these players in 30, 40, 45 days before. And they have that 45 days to do what? Like, what can you change in a player in 45 days? They're coming from a club, a local tournament, where everybody's skills, let's say, is similar, to bring in those players into playing in an international scene where competition is a lot stronger. Like, you can't bring in somebody playing, against a team that is similar to play with something else and expect them to play that much better in 45 days. Not going to happen. So the way I see it, the way I see it, that you can develop a strong national team is to have a year-round system where a player has certain responsibilities with the national team. If you have a decent center for development, you need to bring in those players from the beginning. You need to be able to identify talent from when they're 12 or 12, 14 years old. You come in and start developing those players. You have a strong work between the national team, the federation, with the clubs.
And the
you have a club, let's say Jalaa or Jaysh. You have those 3 or 4 players that we're looking at them. Make sure that you train those guys well. Make sure you're developing that player for this. You're developing, certain. You're taking special care of different players. Not that you ignore everybody else. You have to have a system for everybody else to give a chance for everybody else. But there's a certain attention that you have to give to everybody throughout the year. So when you need that player for 45 days, you know what buttons to push. You know which place he needs to be pushed to get better. So when you need them on that tournament 3 or 4 years later, you know what you expect. You don't have to depend on finding players everywhere else in the world to be able to nationalize them, to be able to do anything good. You can rely on your own players. And on that work, you develop in your own league. You develop in your own strong home for basketball. You develop a culture for that. In the same way, you need to have certain investment on those players. You need to give those players a chance to do only basketball, because later you can expect those players to do something great for you, for the country. So you can't expect somebody that has to work during the day and then come into practice at night and be able to compete against players that do the opposite. They dedicate 3 times a day for a whole life, play basketball, and come into an international tournament. So you can't depend on foreign players. We have to be able to develop home players. You need to develop home talent. So and it's throughout the year. It's not 45 days. You need to have a consistent work to be able to develop a good national team. And I think, of course, circumstances are very extraneous these days. I would imagine it would be difficult to do something like this, but that's what needs to be done. That's what our countries do.
What you're saying is perfect, honestly, and that requires the federation and the clubs to be on the same page.
Exactly.
To have a system that runs through all clubs. And hopefully we can see that one day, but unfortunately we're so far away from that right now. So
it doesn't depend on only one thing. You need to want and have the resources to do it. So hopefully Syria can do that. Hopefully we'll be able to get back into a world attention stage. Jalaa was able to develop that by looking outside and bringing in people that had their roots there. They found a way to be innovative. They were working the people inside, and they found a way to bring from outside somebody that had the opportunity. So you mentioned other names. So they brought in me. That's when they were looking, let's say, thinking outside the box. Like, we have good players. Let's see what else we can bring that they were able to to bring in as a Syrian player, not as an American or European. So we talked about Dede and we talked about Edu, and then I came in, and then we brought in Eder, and then Johnny. So we're
Joining,
bringing
yeah.
in these talent from outside to be able to defend the club and the national team, and that's what we did. So it was kind of coordination between the. I know it was a coordination between the national team, the federation, and the club. It was it was an effort to make big strides into that, to show up. Not, I think the biggest aim was not just to win Syrian tournaments. It was to be
Yes.
able to also do well
To
outside.
compete
We
outside,
want
yeah,
to
sure,
we want to
sure.
be big. So we brought in that pride. We worked very hard in the national team at those days.
But Marcelo, right now we're lacking quality, and as you know, when you lack quality, you have to work twice as hard. And
Yeah.
I don't know, from your experience, do you think Syrian players have that in them? Like they want to work hard and or extra hard to get to the next level, to be able to compete with the best?
Can you give 100% of your effort when you know you have a family member or a friend going through a difficulty? You know,
Well,
like for
you don't have
like
another choice. That's life, man.
I know, but like I'm able to give my 100% when I know that if I leave my house to work as hard as I can in the club, my house is safe. I have my wife, I have my kids, my family, my mom, my dad, everybody's healthy, everybody's good. Like there's nobody is sick or having
Hmm.
difficulty to get food. I'm able to get 100%. Unfortunately, Syria have gone through many years of difficulty where basketball is not the only thing that these players can focus their attention
Hmm.
on. I feel that way. The way I haven't been in Syria for a long time, but I do see the news. I do have friends.
Hmm.
I talk to my friends there
Yeah, yeah, sure.
and everybody here. We know what happened. So the way I see it, just like in education, if you don't have a school for many years, this generation that didn't have a school, eventually they're going to have their difficulties later on in life. And I think that, we go through stages. We're going through a stage of recuperating what we lost during those years where people could not focus on basketball. Maybe now the new generation thinks, again, I'm talking from outside. I don't know what's happening inside. The way I see it, things are settling down. It's like it's almost like it's starting over with the full
Hmm.
attention to things outside of survival. So, like I think people are settling down. We are most likely weaker now in basketball, in
Hmm.
soccer, in football, in other things, in schooling. People, just coming back to school because we're rebuilding that. So I think it's the same way. In sports, is the same way because it's not just physical, it's mentally. Your family's okay. Now I can go and do other things. Let's see what else I can do. I think people are able to come back into it now. Unfortunately, it might take time. Who knows? Maybe we can find a sponsor that can look into making that development school. Having the clubs focus more on the players only, give them enough money to be able to support their families so they can dedicate their full time in basketball or in soccer or whatever it is. So
Hmm.
I think the opportunity is there. I'm sure the passion is there. People love sports in
Yeah,
Syria, man.
yeah, true,
People
true.
love
Yeah, you're
sports.
right.
And yeah, hopefully that can happen sooner than later. Hopefully we can find somebody that can support. I know people that support the basketball there. I know people that support the local players in Jalaa from Dubai. I know people that do that very much, and they love the club and they love the people that dedicate their lives to it. But yeah, it takes time. It was a big hit. It has been a big hit for the country, but I'm sure
Yes,
we'll
yes, you're
recuperate.
right. After this long time with the Jalaa and in Syria,
Yeah,
is there any special moment that stands out in your memory, or a game maybe?
a game. We
A game.
won. Yeah, we won a game in Damascus. I don't. It was. I can't remember a year. It was against you guys, and we beat. It was a very close game. You had uh the tallest Josh. No, what's his name? The tall, skinny guy with the long hair.
Oh, Chris.
Chris. Yes, Chris. You had
I think
Chris.
you're talking about the first game in the series on in 2020, 2010, right? Oh
My
no, you
mind.
said in Damascus. No, no,
It was in
Jesus, man.
Damascus. It was a very big game, and after the
Oh,
game,
okay,
there were
yeah.
fights, unfortunately, and everything. Like the emotion was so high. Nothing bad happens, but people get too excited, and there was so much in there, like because the gym is so close to us that we're in a court. You can't hear ourselves talk, and I honestly I cannot think of the year, but like my memory is very vivid. And I had a very nice block against Chris coming into the fast break, and he tried to dunk with the left hand, and I blocked him up top. Like, very details of a game.
He was a good player, man.
He was a
Chris.
very good player. He was an amazing player. He was still playing many years after that. He came here to Dubai to play a ball above all. I don't know if you
Yeah, yeah,
remember
yeah.
that. Yeah,
Mm.
but but for me, man, the memories are in the interaction with the public, with the fans that were there. Like with the shouting, people calling my name and everybody else's name, the emotions that generates and how that push us to do better and better that we
Is
can
that what
think.
you miss the most about playing
That's what I
professional
miss the most.
basketball?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes,
because
yes,
to me it's the same. I miss the camaraderie. I
yes,
miss the friendships
yes.
we built over the years.
Yeah.
The meetings before the games and after the games. That's what I miss
But
the
with
most.
that you can get a little bit on the camaraderie that we have in smaller tournaments. Like that's what I keep doing these things that I do now. It's
Yeah.
I leave my house. I know my family's here, like what we're talking about, right? I know I'm gonna go play, and I come back and everybody's safe. So I go to play, and I have those other 5, 6, 7 players there. We get to talk whatever it is. You leave work, the stress outside, and you
Hmm.
get to share memories. You got to share jokes, things that have nothing to do, like stupid things, but you laugh anyways
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
you're in a safe environment. And basketball for us, that like and live that life of basketball, it's something very unique, something that you don't get anywhere else. So for us that played professional, it comes back to us a little bit.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
the crowd that we had in Syria, it's something that we'll never have again. And it's something that
True.
has to
Yeah.
stay in your mind.
Yeah, you're right. I feel the same way, man. Like those days were really special.
Unique, very unique, man. Very unique. I hope you got to cherish that as much as I did.
Yeah, yeah, of course, man. Every moment, of course. I want to show you a picture before we
Uh
wrap
oh.
things up. Um, no, it's a good picture. No worry. Um, because me as a player, I wasn't the most skillful player, but I worked hard,
You
and
were
I think
dangerous.
I was a good defender overall.
You were dangerous.
And
You had a very good
I want to
shot.
show
You're
you a
very dangerous,
picture.
man.
I want to show you a picture as a proof of that for you and me. Because for those who don't know, we played a lot of basketball against each other here in UAE. That's me. That's me playing great defense on you, man.
Oh my God, that's a different time right there. That's my first team outside from my first company here in
Yeah,
Dubai.
I remember that night you struggled, man, so much.
You,
Like I
you
think
don't
you
look
dropped
like you're
like
playing
30.
very much
I
defense at all there, man.
think you dropped like 30 points on us or something.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I got to play these tournaments here in the beginning. I had that chip on my shoulder, I still had that curiosity, and I was working out very much. Like, and in these tournaments, it was the only tournaments that were around, and fortunately
Hmm.
I was doing very good. At this time I was doing 30, 40 points every game.
Yeah, yeah,
But
you were great.
but for me it wasn't like, I wasn't playing as hard. I wasn't hitting people, like rebound crazy. For me, after professional, for me is for fun. It we were talking about before, for me it's staying in shape, keeping the basketball,
Hmm.
not to be too poetic, but keeping the basketball flame inside, like burning the whole time, like I have to be there. I have to keep doing it for fun. It's something that I need, like for me to do the other things that I have to do on my grown up life. I have to keep thing of basketball coming. That's what keeps me young. That's what keeps me in shape. That's what brings me happiness to bring into other places of my life. So basketball is there. It's gonna still be there. One thing though, like a curiosity, like this year, I
Yeah.
went to because I've been defending now. We were talking about national team in Syria. I
Hmm.
have been defending UAE nowadays after my professional basketball days. I defend the UAE in the Masters tournament. So just like
Hmm.
there is FIBA for basketball,
Yeah.
regular basketball, we have FIMBA for Masters.
For
So I
masters.
went to Finland 4 years ago.
Hmm.
Yes, 4 years ago, playing against UAE. Sorry, playing for UAE against
For UAE.
world teams.
Yeah.
And this year I went to Italy, but unfortunately we didn't have a UAE team, so I played for Jordan. So I still have that. Like I know that in UAE, as I mean, I'm not talking about myself too much, but here in UAE, I'm the only big man that can still play. Because it's hard for
Yeah,
big
you're
men
right.
because of joints, because of back, blah blah blah.
True. True.
I keep myself in shape, and luckily I have good genes. So for me, like being skinny is very good for me because it keeps my health in shape. I can still run. I cannot bump and fight that much anymore, but I can still run. So that keeps me in shape. So
And you work hard, man. So
I work hard, man.
eventually that will pay off.
Pays off. Yeah. So it's been paying off. So for me, I'm 47 now. So I'm competing against. I thought, let me see. I'm still curious to see how is that gonna be. I know in UAE people don't focus too much on basketball at this age. People, younger players like to run and all. I don't run as much
Hmm.
as the younger players anymore, but I have the skills. I have experience. I can play against anybody in that sense. So I want to bring that in the international scene. So I go to Italy. I go to Finland. I think this year we go to. I can't remember now if it's Italy or not. Italy, Sweden. I can't remember where it is. But next year there's another World Tournament. So I'm gonna be preparing for that. Like a
But every
months
year you
before.
play under the different name, like you played again for UAE,
No,
then for
so if
Jordan.
we are able, so in these tournaments, you don't have to have the nationality. It's an open tournament.
Hmm.
You have to defend the country. Basically, it's not a club
Uh huh.
thing. It's a country
Okay.
thing. So if we put together a team in UAE, which will probably go with the team that I play in this local tournaments, we have to go defending UAE. It's not going to be
Hmm.
whatever the name of the team that we have here.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
UAE. So I will be defending UAE at these tournaments. So, uh, like I said, this was a European tournament that we went this year. We were not able to put a UAE team together, so I went with somebody else. But I have that in me. Whoever I'm defending, I want to see how am I gonna compare to other people at my age. Here
Hmm.
I'm playing
Hmm.
against younger guys, and that's where I find my competition. I find competition against younger guys. So when I go outside, how is that going to be? How are the guys in Italy taking care of themselves?
You're
How
gonna
are
average
guys
50
in
points.
well, luckily I did good. I was playing against 40 plus years old and I was doing
Yeah.
20, 30 points. So but I have that in me. I think that's what keeps me, let's say young. That's what keeps me going. When I see that passion is going down, I think I'll be able to focus on the passion from my kids. I have three
Hmm.
kids, and I see that they have the passion too. And I so far they're just practicing. They haven't tasted the crowd cheering. They haven't
Yeah.
tasted
Yeah.
the basketball that me and you have tasted. They have tried. So I think that's good when they get that bug to bite them, that emotion that the basketball brings. I think I'll be able to live through them. Right now, I'm just pushing them to be the best they can, whatever they choose. But
Maybe
I
one day
need
we'll
that
see
flame.
them with the Syrian national team. Who knows?
Who knows? Inshallah. Let's see. Right now, the situation looks difficult, but yeah, who
Yeah.
knows? The opportunity is there for sure.
Marcelo, I want to wish you the best
Man, I
for
appreciate
the
it.
upcoming tournament, and this has been
Thank you.
great. I really had a lot of fun speaking with
You're
you
too far
and
away, man. When you
reconnecting
gonna
with
come
you.
play against us?
Man, I
You
stopped
used to.
playing.
You gave up. What happened?
Yeah, it's my body, man.
Come on. Come on.
You
I know
just
you're
said it, man. You
coaching
have
too
to listen
much.
to your body.
Yeah, you decided to go for coaching. That's okay. I'm happy for you. I could go for coaching. I have to keep playing.
Well, I can do both, but you know, I don't have the energy to do both. You know, when you're coaching and you're spending all your
Yeah.
energy
Yeah, for
shouting all
sure.
day, you don't have energy
That's
left
why I
to
couldn't do
play.
it, man. For me, it was too stressful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have to
Anyway,
play.
this has been great, Marcelo. I want to thank
Appreciate
you
it, man.
again, and
My pleasure.
you're welcome anytime, man. Maybe we can speak soon,
We'll do
and
it
I'll
again
see you
sometime
soon for
soon.
sure.
We'll
Sure,
talk
sure,
about
sure.
different things.
Yeah.
Appreciate
All
it,
right,
Rami. Thank you
great.
very much, man. Best
Have
of luck to you and the podcast.
Thank you, thank you.
Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.